The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air.
Dead flies make a perfumer's oil stink. So a little foolishness is weightier than wisdom and honor. A wise man's heart directs him toward the right, but the foolish man's heart directs him toward the left. Even when the fool walks along the road, his sense is lacking, and he demonstrates to everyone that he is a fool. If the ruler's temper rises against you, do not abandon your position, because composure allays great offenses. There is an evil I have seen under the sun, like an arrow which goes forth from the ruler. Folly is set in many exalted places, while rich men sit in humble places. I have seen slaves riding on horses, and princes walking like slaves on the land. He who digs a pit may fall into it, and a serpent may bite him who breaks through a wall. He who quarries stone may be hurt by them, and he who splits logs may be endangered by them. If the axe is dull, and he does not sharpen its edge, then he must exert more strength. Wisdom has the advantage of giving success. If the serpent bites before being charmed, there is no profit for the charmer. Words from the mouth of a wise man are gracious, while the lips of a fool consume him. The beginning of his talking is folly, and the end of it is wicked madness. Yet the fool multiplies words. No man knows what will happen, and who can tell him what will come after him? The toil of a fool so wearies him that he does not even know how to go to a city. Woe to you, O land, whose king is a lad, and whose prince feasts in the morning. Blessed are you, O land, whose king is of nobility, and whose princes eat at the appropriate time, for strength and not drunkenness. Through indolence the rafters sag, and through slackness the house leaks. Men prepare a meal for enjoyment, and wine makes life merry, and money is the answer to everything. Furthermore, in your bedchamber, do not curse a king, and in your sleeping rooms, do not curse a rich man. For a bird of the heavens will carry the sound, and the winged creature will make the matter known.
A little foolishness can ruin a lifetime of wisdom. Ecclesiastes 10 shows us just how fragile a good reputation could be. In this episode, we uncover the sharp contrast between wisdom and folly, and why even small choices can have big consequences. Stay tuned as we break down this powerful chapter and learn how to walk wisely in a world full of pitfalls. As always, be blessed and enjoy. Welcome back to another episode of a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts,
Nakhaz Gay
and Earl Roberts. Hopefully everyone had a great week. Everyone out there finally made it to the weekend. God is good all the time. All the time, God is good.
Amen.
Oh my. Man, is the Sabbath is always a blessing. I mean, like, granted, we record these mostly in our normal schedule programming on a Friday night. So it's just always that relief that, man, made it through another week.
Yeah, that's a blessing for sure, bro. Like it seemed like you, especially on Friday night, like even them naps, they hit harder, than than on a regular day. Like
I even had a chance to nap today. I just don't even have a chance to nap these days anymore on a Friday.
I had something to do on this afternoon, but I was like, boy, I'm just about to go to sleep. But I got to sleep from like 6.
Oh, that must be nice. My fear was, bro, if I nap, I had such a long week, bro. If I nap, I wasn't gonna wake up with a pod,
We'll
bro.
make it up tonight.
That was gonna be a slumber, and I was gonna wake up in the morning and be like, "Oh, dang, I forgot the pod."
That's how I felt too. Like I woke up before my alarm, but I woke up like a little discombobulated, but like I don't know. It take me a couple of minutes to really catch myself for real. Like, but yeah, but like thank God for this type of rest. Thank God for the Sabbath. Because I mean, but sometimes even on like Saturday in the day, bro. I mean, you might not be a napper like me, bro, but some people they don't prioritize that rest on Sabbath.
I know, right? And I'm like, guys, oh my, I gotta rest, man. Like, hey, some people is make the Sabbath just as busy as a normal day, and I just be like, I understand, right?
Mm.
But at the same time, bro, it is a day of rest. Why am I
Yeah,
making my day of rest just as busy as my normal work day?
I like when the rest part is kicking, bro. Like but like no
And
lie,
mommy might be listening to this and she might be looking at me a little funny right now. Like, that's why you don't want to go to church. See, I used to go to church.
see,
But
but this the thing too, though, bro. It's one thing you say, oh, I want to get to church at a time where I can sleep in, I could take my time and get to church, right? That's one thing, bro. Another thing, though, some people, no matter what time you go to church, bro, they want to be to church all day, bro. They want
that's
to
what
be to
scared me,
church. They want to fellowship. They want to chill, tell AY. I never subscribe to them. You see what I'm saying? Like,
bro. Even if I go in to AY, bro, I need to go home and relax a little bit, get a change of scenery, and I coming back.
that's how I feel, bro. Because I like, but truly, when the rest can come in, bro, like my body dying for this rest. You know what I mean?
Cause Sunday's just a day. Like Sunday is a work day or a house chores day that you can't do during the week, bro. Sunday just be just as busy.
Exactly. Sunday you can't. Well, you could relax on Sunday, but it could be at an expense, bro. It could be at some
Something
type
could
of
give.
expense.
Something could give. But thank
So,
thank God he had infinite wisdom to know that yeah, you humans, you were going to need a day of rest. Just a day to just decompress, reflect on my goodness, He sanctified it and keep it holy. That can be a whole discussion on what that actually means. But it's a day of rest. So you want to say something, go for it.
no,
Go
I
for it.
had a thought. I had a thought. I ain't gonna derail it, but thank God that for the side. But that's how I can deal with it.
All right, all right, all right. All right, so let's go. During this week, we covering Psalms 9 for our thought. So let's do it. I'm gonna just read from the NIV for this one. I will give thanks to you, Lord, with all my heart. I will tell of all your wonderful deeds. I will be glad and rejoice in you. I will sing the praises of your name, O Most High. My enemies turn back. They stumble and perish before you. For you have upheld my right and my cause, sitting enthroned as the righteous judge. You have rebuked the nations and destroyed the wicked. You have blotted out their name forever and ever. Endless ruin has overtaken my enemies. You have uprooted their cities. Even the memory of them has perished. The Lord reigns forever. He has established his throne for judgment. He rules the world in righteousness and judges the people with equity. The Lord is a refuge for the oppressed, a stronghold in times for trouble. Those who know your name trust in you. For you, Lord, have never forsaken those who seek you. Sing the praises of the Lord enthroned in Zion. Proclaim among the nations what he has done. For he who avenges blood remembers. He does not ignore the cries of the afflicted. Lord, see how my enemies persecute me. Have mercy and lift me up from the gates of death, that I may declare your praises in the gates of daughter Zion and rejoice in your salvation. The nations have fallen into a pit they have dug. Their feet are caught in a net they have hidden. The Lord is known by his acts of justice. The wicked are ensnared by the work of their hands. The wicked go down to the realm of the dead. All the nations that forget God, but God will never forget the needy. The hope of the afflicted will never perish. Arise, Lord, Do not let mortals triumph. Let the nations be judged in your presence. Strike them with terror, Lord. Let the nations know they are only mortal.
Sometimes I just feel like I need to tiptoe around certain topics.
Mm-hmm.
Not out of fear, but just not. I just try to be cognizant and not going too like kind of easing in certain things that Adventists disagree with on other Christians. Like I don't want to be hard on this topic because I want to make things as palatable and just come in with understanding. So I remember, I think it was last week,
Mm-hmm.
we was talking about like the text in Ecclesiastes. It kind of implied that God, like it was a text that say something like God already has already seen, or it's
Mm-hmm.
something that to me I interpret it as saying like God has already judged you, right? And I think I was trying to say that's what Solomon was kind of getting at, right? But I didn't want to just come out and say it because like how when you're in court, right? If I admit this thing, like not if I bring up this thing to the stand, then the opposition have a chance to actually
Mm-hmm.
fully cross-examine XYZ, right? So but I ain't really trying to delve too deep into certain topics because
Mm-hmm.
now it's like, I want to hijack it in XYZ because I don't really want to go too deep into judgment. This wasn't really a chapter on judgment. But this Psalms 9, all we're hearing is judgment, 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 right? And I can't say what other denominations feel exactly, but it's like when we say that God is judging beforehand, right? There is a term we say investigative judgment. Like that's give some people the creeps. I think maybe because it's an actual term and the Bible don't have those two words together like that.
Yeah.
But it's like judgment. If David is talking about God, punishing people, right? He ain't saying that you're just punishing random people. He's saying you're punishing the wicked. He expressed that multiple times, right? Like in verse 8, he shall judge the world in righteousness, and he shall administer judgment for the peoples in uprightness, right?
Mm-hmm.
He only know what how can he say who's righteous and who's not righteous if he is not judged? You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And can we say definitively every time when God judge, it's only after you die, after your life is already completed, that's when God starts his judgment? No, all throughout this text, we see David keeps talking about God's judgment, God's judgment, God's judgment. He's saying, and he goes on to say, like, the punishment that people receive because of wickedness. One thing I find is consistent, especially in the Old Testament, when we talk about God, is judgment. When we think of judgment, we think of what God decides, right? But no, think about how God examines. He has to examine people in order to decide. So when we see a famine comes, or this thing that is an act of God specifically, this isn't a random occurrence. This is a result of God having already made a decision based on
Mm-hmm.
what he already judged. And I'm not even talking about heaven or hell, but he makes these decisions. That's why David could say what could happen to the righteous or to the unrighteous, because God has already made that claim. And that's one thing that really stood out to me like deeply in this chapter.
I had a point, but I want to piggyback off of what you said just to
Yeah,
poke a question.
go for it.
So, just for conversational purposes, for
Mhm.
the first time listener, when you say God judges, when do you say when do you think that's happening? And then is the time for redemption? The only reason why I asked it that way, even though I kind of know the answer, I just want to flesh it out because saying it in a certain way can almost make up like God has already made up his mind on you and there's no room for change. So I just want to
No,
clarify that point.
that's a good question. The point I'm not making is that God predetermines what is
Exactly.
right or wrong. I'm trying to say based on our current actions, right?
Mm-hmm.
God keeps record
Mm-hmm.
of the things we do, good and bad. You see what I'm saying? And there is a reward for righteousness, and there's a penalty for sin. The Bible says that the gift of God is eternal life, right? And John 3:16, whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is the reward for righteousness. But righteousness is determined by examining our actions. It's not a predetermined notion. It's not, and some people try to misuse texts in the New Testament that say, "Hey, oh, God has already did what He chooses or X, Y, Z." But we can see throughout the Bible, and we expound on this more in our Daniel podcast
Mm-hmm.
episodes. But let me go to Revelation 20, the last chapter of Revelation.
Mm-hmm.
But the theme that I'm trying to portray here is that God has already, okay, Revelation chapter 22. Let me go to my correct version of the Bible. I'm sorry, because I have my things highlighted already.
Mm-hmm.
Revelation chapter 22, verse 12. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me to give to everyone according to his work.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's not according to I'm doing it at random and I'm picking favorites, right? When Jesus returns, he's going to reward those according to the fruit that we have bear. If we bear bad fruit, that's why when Jesus was walking on earth, he kept using these analogies. The fig tree, right? If you bear bad fruit, you will be cut down. That's just how we treat trees. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And in the same way, you will know us by our fruits. And that's what judgment is. Judgment is determining the type of fruit that we have based on what we give into the world, based on how we act, based on how we think, etc.
Good response. And sparks another thought, right?
Mhm.
I promise I'll be get to the episode at some point. Don't you find it interesting that the word that was used there was work and not faith? And I know I
Oh,
step on some toes and I
that's
get into
that.
a different argument now. But don't you find that very interesting?
I find it interesting, right? But when we go to the book of Hebrews, what is the chapter? Is it Hebrews 4? No, is it Hebrew? When they talk about the Faith Hall of Fame,
Mm-hmm.
when they talk about by faith, it was by faith that Cain, Abel offered a more excellent sacrifice than Cain. You know what I'm saying? It was by faith Abraham did X, Y, Z. If we truly examine in the New Testament, because that's really where faith is fully emphasized. Excuse me. We see the relationship between your faith and how your faith is represented. You know, faith is the evidence of things hope is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when we read the book of John, they tell us what faith in action looks like. It has to come with action. It's like a cell phone, right? If the cell phone comes without the battery, it is dead. It is useless until we put that battery in it, right? Faith without works in the same way is dead. You know what I mean? I could have faith that, I don't know, I could have faith that the light is that my light is not blown, my light bulb is good, right? But if I never flip on that switch, my
Mm-hmm.
faith is useless. You know what I'm saying? Like I have, like it just is dead. Until we put it into action. It is by faith that Samson X Y Z. Like we can see evidence of that in the New Testament specifically. And the text faith without works is dead. I think that's self-explanatory. But if you want to read that in context, I think it's in the book of John. I think it's First John really. But works has been vilified because the Pharisees were work based without faith. They
Mm-hmm.
worked without rhyme or reason for work, and they think like, hey, if I outwork or if I just show that I'm a model citizen, show it that will get me whatever reward they were seeking, right? But they lack love, and so you can see a clear disconnect. They want to keep the Sabbath so bad that when someone is lame and Jesus heals them, they want to arrest Jesus because Jesus made somebody whole on the Sabbath, but in their mind, it's like, oh no, we have to keep the law. We have to keep the law. It's just black and white, but they lack love and they lack faith. And so I think truly like that, the work situation, I don't think we should vilify the term work. So a lot of people do. I
I
disagree
agree.
with that. But Jesus says this is Jesus talking, bro, in Revelation 22. He said, my reward is based on your works, straight up, based on the works, on your works. And so it's just a evidence that when you are sanctified, when God has made a change in you, there will be evidence of that change, you know?
Agreed. I just want to read something. So, like, the faith without works part actually comes from James 2, right?
Oh,
But I
James,
just,
there's something with a J, my
yeah,
bad.
no, the Bible is overwritten with J's, right? But I just want to read it, right? Because, like, this, I haven't read this passage in a while. So I guess bear with me, right? I'm going to start from verse 14. What does it profit, my brethren, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, depart in peace, be warmed and filled, but you do not give him the things which are needed for the body, what does
Oh,
it profit? Thus also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. But
mm,
someone will say, you have faith and I have works. Show me your faith without works, and I will show you my faith by my works.
mm,
You believe that there is one God. You do well. Even the demons believe and tremble. But
mercy.
do you want to know, O foolish man, that faith without works is dead? Was not Abraham our father justified by works when he offered Isaac his son on the altar? Do you see that faith was working together with his works, and by works faith was made perfect? And the scripture was fulfilled, which says, Abraham believed God, and it was accounted to him for his righteousness.
Mm,
And he was called the friend of God. You see then that a man is justified by works and not by faith only? Likewise, was Rahab the harlot also justified by works when she received the messengers and sent them out another way? For as a body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is also dead. And it's so interesting that people make the argument with faith and works when there's like a passage in the Bible itself that explains it so beautifully, bro.
Satan, bro. It's like, it's hard to misunderstand. Like they say it, it's black and white. Like it's not a lot of nuance in that text. Like,
Bro, it's like you read this text and you like, I really think like, I'm really just asking myself like, why is this even an argument? You
I
know,
don't know.
what, like, why are people so why are people so they can't connect those dots? I guess it's the best way I'm trying to say it. Like that's the cleanest way you can say it.
I could tell you why. I can't speak for all people who don't connect the dots, but I can tell you one strong argument why it's to me it still doesn't stand up, but I could understand how they end up in that predicament. Once you already say this, once you've already been taught that all you have to do is believe in God and you are saved, right? You show all the texts that say that.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't delve deep into understanding what it means to believe. Like if I'm your coach, right? And you believe that I can fix your jump shot, right? And I say, hey, excuse me. If I say, hey, use this form, use one hand, follow through. If I tell you follow through and you never follow through, and follow through to those, it's like when you leave your hand up in like a arced position after your shot. If I say, bro, follow through and it'll fix your accuracy, and you never follow through, you never obey anything what I say to do. Can I truly say that you believe me that I'll fix your shot?
Mm.
If you believe that I can help you to lose weight, and I tell you do this, that, and the third, and I telling you do it, and you're just not doing it, can I say that you even believe that I can help you? You know what I mean? Because why? Because what's the point if you want to be saved, right? Or if you want to lose weight, you come to me, I tell you what to do, and you just don't do it. You see what I'm saying? What's the point? Like you don't even try to do it. You know? Excuse me. And so some people have learned that just believe, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they just say, oh, all I have to do is think that Jesus is God, and that's it, you know? And they go through their life and they get cemented in that belief. And then they learn about the Pharisees. You see, all the Pharisees, they was doing this, they was doing that. So you already established two things. One, that works is bad. That Jesus was coming at the Pharisees because it was works and not because they lack faith. You see what I'm saying? And then by the time you get to this text, you say to yourself, well, John 3:16 say all I have to do is believe and I get eternal life. So this must be something that I ain't understanding. You know what I mean? I've heard one person who had Bro, out of everybody who I ever heard say the works part is a doctrine of devils, anybody who say that, only one argument I heard, and I was like, I could see where y'all trying to put it together now. There was a guy on Instagram, he said that the reason people don't acknowledge this text to be applicable is because this came about so early. So in Acts chapter 15,
Mm-hmm.
they had the council and they was
Mm-hmm.
talking about circumcision and different
Mm-hmm.
things. Like, should one be a Jew? You know what I mean? Before being a Gentile. And
Yep.
they came to a conclusion in that text, right? And the guy on Instagram, he's basically saying James was written before before Acts chapter 15 happened. So James was still thinking you have to Judaize. You get what I say? Like that's why, like, but that's the first time I hear someone who actually had something with logic to support it, even though it's wrong, even though it's still incorrect, right? It ain't just like, oh, once saved, always saved, and this don't align, so this can't be true. Like this is the first actual answer someone had for not
Well,
applying that.
here's the funny thing about it. Whereas all of them are still good excuses, well, not excuses, good logics. I feel like part of it also is like the pendulum just swung in the too far in the opposite direction after Catholicism was just the universal church.
Mm-hmm.
Like after they was doing all the penances and all this stuff, like you working for your salvation. After the Protestant Reformation, the pendulum swung so far on the other side. Like, yo, we was doing this, but we ain't doing nothing.
Ain't doing no works.
We just gotta believe. This is all we need. And it's like, whereas the perfect place is actually in the middle. Whereas you are not justified by your works alone, but you're not justified by your faith alone. What you
Right.
are is you have the faith in Jesus Christ and you get eternal lasting life. But now, what does that mean? Like, truly, what does that mean? That means a change in the heart. That means a call to repentance. You know what I'm saying? That means you are changing your actions. So you're not doing these works to be saved, but you are doing these works because of your faith now. Like,
Yeah,
and so go for it.
it's rough, bro, because then you read Galatians, right? Without context, like you just read it face value as someone who already feel like works is wrong, and that affirms you. It's like, no, we like because Galatians like, bro, we ain't doing no works, bro. Like, you know what I mean? It's faith that's what we saved by, you know. But then the same author of Galatians, or even in Galatians, he could
But
talk with
and
yeah, go on.
but I think and next thing a lot of people are getting conflated too, and you could call me out. This might be a nuanced argument because I've been saying this word a lot lately, right? But a lot of people get conflated works and the law.
That's
A
true
lot
too.
of people conflate the two, and I think that's the next hard thing for people to accept. Like they're different, but a lot of
Yeah,
people like bondage them up together.
because any works is just actions. It's just like a different word for actions. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, but in one text, you read Galatians and it's saying, you know, faith alone or whatever, right? Or however they put it. And then you read another part of the Bible and they say, bro, um, drunkards will not enter the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? Like lust, this type of, you know, sexual immorality, these people will not enter the kingdom. And it's like, what is the common denominator there, bro? They didn't say drunkards who are not saved will not enter the kingdom. You know what I mean? Like they didn't say sexually immoral if they don't believe will not enter. You know, they clearly talking about your actions, your works, bro. Like what
Mm-hmm.
do you do? What type of fruit do you bear? I think it's blatantly clear, you know. But I do think that a plague in Christianity is trying to say, hey, all you have to do is say Jesus is king and you're straight for life, bro. You know what I mean? Like that to me, that's so inconsistent with the Bible, bro. Like I think you have to actually try not to read the Bible in order to stay with that mindset, you know?
Oh boy, I get it, bro. I get it. That was a good conversation because
Yeah.
I could keep on going, but in the sake of not neglecting Ecclesiastes,
So
let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 10.
yeah.
And for
So
everyone, I mean, we got like 3 chapters left in the book, but it's been just a conversation on just wisdom, heavenly wisdom, why it's important. Um, the understanding of the book of Ecclesiastes in context, why he's doing these experiments or coming to these realizations, in the context of God or not of God. Like it's been a great conversation so far.
Yeah. And on the last chapter specifically,
Mm-hmm.
we talked about how you could be the most righteous, you could be the most wicked. You're gonna die one day. Kind of morbid thought. But he like, bro, that's one thing consistently is going to happen. And because of that, when you find your work to do under the sun, but do that with all your might, bro, because it come a time and you can't wait no more. After when it's all said and done and you pass away, these things ain't gonna be there for you. And so enjoy your work, but then enjoy your play too. Eat, drink, spend as much time as you could enjoying your spouse that you married to all the days of your vain life. You know what I mean? So that was kind of the early premise, and then he ends up talking about the race not being to the swift, time and chance evaded all, and then they conclude by, he told a story of a man, a poor and wise man. He saved the whole city, but nobody even cared, bro. Like the man ain't
Nobody.
get his credit. He saved the city, but then he realized Saul that teach Solomon that but wisdom is good, but like wisdom and poor man, like people despise that type of wisdom. And so it's a very, very, you know, very intriguing, very deep philosophical outlooks um we've learned in this book so far.
Indeed. Indeed. All right, let's get it. Ecclesiastes 10. Dead flies putrefy the perfumer's ointment.
That's
And
that's that's the opening line, eh?
I know, right? I was like, okay. But it goes because it was last chapter, right, where he was talking about like one sinner destroys much good.
Much good, yeah.
And so in context, that's how
Continuing.
it's just a continuation. So like in context, that's just we are continuing the same thought for like the context for the listeners, right? So dead flies putrefy the perfumer's ointment and cause it to give off a foul odor. So does a little folly to one respected for honor, for wisdom and honor. A wise man's heart is at his right hand, and a fool's heart is at his left. When a fool walks along the way, he lacks wisdom, and he shows everyone that he is a fool. If the spirit of the ruler rises against you, do not leave your post, for conciliation pacifies great offenses. So
Bro,
go for it. Go for it. No. Kick it off. Kick it off. Go for it.
bro, even when a fool walks along the way, he lacks wisdom. Bro, that's so crazy to me because it's like, bro, you could see someone who's a known fool, bro. And he doing something like wise, like he doing something like everything cool, you know what I mean? But it's almost like it's happenstance because he doing this thing and he ain't even know why he doing it. Like he ain't even know, he ain't Narnia out of wisdom. You see, he just so happened to be walking along these lines, you know what I mean? And then while he on this path, the cat is out the bag at some point because he shows everyone that he is a fool. You know what I mean? It's like to say like you can't like if you ain't operating in wisdom, even if you're doing some wise stuff at first, bro, you get exposed yourself at
It's
some
only a
point in
matter
time.
of time, bro. You
It's
can
only a
open your
matter of
mouth. You can,
time.
like someone say, but if someone talk long enough, you can figure out if they actually know what they're talking about.
That's true.
But
That's definitely true.
what gets me, well, what kind of stood out to me too is like how he was making this argument, right? Like a one sinner could destroy much good, right? A small dead fly in an ointment could make the whole thing go sour, right? But but then to bring it all home, so there's a little folly to one who is respected for wisdom and honor.
Yeah.
And man, it brings us like so many thoughts come to my head because like how true that is, right? Like what all just happened recently in the I want to say like Christian YouTube with the West Huff and a
Billy
person
Carson.
exactly Billy Carson, right? Is like someone who was respected in other circles, right? The folly that he was talking gets exposed because someone poked hole in his arguments and he was talking long enough where, oh, maybe everything you're saying probably was just falsehoods. And now that gets exposed. And it's even like even outside of that, right? I think about even other people who you might have looked up to or respected for some different, and then something else happens. You're like, that wasn't that wise. So I don't really. What you're doing just ain't wise. Like I
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
respect you to the level as I previously thought it was, because someone who earned like is worth my respect wouldn't be doing these type of actions.
yeah. Sad reality for me as I came into my adulthood. Like a lot of people I look up to, I like them, but this is stand up dude. You see the things that they into, the things they champion. It's like, no, but that ain't true. That ain't righteous, bro. Like I can't. I don't look at you the same way, and then my style has changed. But it's so funny when I read that same text. So does a little folly to one who. I'm sorry. So does a little folly to one respective for wisdom and honor, which is like to say it does the same thing that flies to a perfume does, right?
Mhm.
I think about it like this. You could do plenty things good. You could do plenty things good, bro. But the minute you fall off and do something foolish, even if it's slight, bro, that could ruin your whole reputation. That could kill your whole credibility, bro. You know what I mean? Like one little foolish thing you do. And when I say foolish, I ain't mean like silly, like you ain't think it through. Something that does not, like how they say the fear of
Mhm.
God is the beginning of wisdom, right? So something that was anti-fear of God, that's a foolish thing. They say the fool says in his heart there is no God. So
Mhm.
it's like a lot of times we paint the picture between righteousness and wisdom, because it is a wise thing to be righteous. And so you do something foolish. Like, some people, I ain't trying to like call people out, but you have a nice family. You might lead the flock in church. You see what I'm saying?
Mercy.
But but then you are at an area of weakness. You see what I'm saying? Like you are at an area of weakness, and you do something you ain't supposed to do. It could have been one time. It might not have been as fair as it could have been, but
Hmm.
that could ruin your whole reputation. That could ruin your family. You know what I mean? But you a stand up dude though, bro. Like you a good dude. You baptized plenty of people, but one foolish act could
Hmm.
could do a lot. Could do a lot to
Undo a
harm your
lot of good.
reputation. Yeah,
Mercy. And it's just so, and it's just, for better or worse, it's just society, bro. Like people remember the bad more than they remember the good, which is
that's true.
unfortunate, but it's just human nature, because we all are guilty of it.
And that's how it is, bro. And that's why I like how Solomon put it. Solomon ain't say whether this was a right or wrong thing. He's saying this how it is.
So it would be wise if you know these things, bro. Like
It's right.
just wisdom.
I just let you know, you could do a million things, right? You do one thing foolish, you could tarnish your reputation with that thing, but do with this information as you will. Now, I would expect someone like Solomon to say, I hate the fact that people forget so easily. That after you've done a million things good, this one foolish thing can tarnish your reputation. This is vanity. That's the approach I would have right. You see what I'm saying? Like, but no, he telling you, bro, this is how it is, bro.
Hmm.
I think sometimes as people, we don't want to be accountable for the way our actions come across, right? It might be an imbalance, bro. Truly, you might say, bro, I donate or I give so much to people, but the minute I do something bad, and to be fair, I did do something bad, right? But you might say, bro, I would like to have more grace than that, right?
Hmm.
But the wise thing to do is to say, hey, I understand that when you make certain mistakes, it has certain results. You see what I'm saying? Regardless if you feel like it's fair or not, that's just the way that it is. Like you could have, no lie, bro. Like when we was young, they used to warn us a lot about tattoos, bro. Don't
Hmm.
get no tattoo on your face, don't get it on your arm, visible tattoos and stuff like that. It can hurt you trying to get a job, you know? You might say, but that's so dumb, bro. It's just ink. I might be the smartest person in this place, right?
Hmm.
But it's certain ways that people react to certain things. Now I mean the workforce is much different now. You know what I'm saying? Like people are far more liberal on that, but it was true when we was young, and
Yep.
so sometimes it's an input and an output situation. And I think that's true wisdom, but when you understand the 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 laws were like the way how things go around.
Agreed. Agreed. And you really point out the as he shows everyone he's a fool as he walks along the way. Well, like verse 4, if the spirit of the ruler rises against you, do not leave your post, for conciliation pacifies great offenses. How do you feel about that, or what are your thoughts on that is the better question.
There's a text, and I think Proverbs
Mm-hmm.
that say, "A soft answer turneth away wrath."
Mm-hmm.
I know that to be true 100%. You can pacify a situation if you keep your cool, you know, because you ain't igniting the fire. It's a fire burning in the other person, right? But to me, and this is the folly in my heart, I just used to think, why I trying to pacify wrath? Why I trying to, what I say, the soft answer turneth away wrath? What if I ain't trying to turn away wrath? What if I want that wrath, bro? I want a showdown with you right now, bro. Like, you coming at me crazy? Oh, no, bro, I ain't backing down, bro. You showing you I crazy, you know? That's foolishness. That's what we was talking about the other day. It's like anger lies in the bosom of fools, right?
Mm-hmm.
A soft answer truly turneth away wrath, bro. I have a cousin, bro. My cousin, he's a hard head all my life, but you look at him, you know, rough around the edges, tattoos, all type of like gold, all type of stuff, bro. You look at him, you might assume, but it's trouble, bro. But being around him, bro, I watch him pacify so many situations that it's like it almost blow my mind that you are that type of composure in these situations, bro. Somebody yelling at you, right? Somebody trying to call you a crazy name or something like that, right? And you answering them dead normal, like it ain't even phasing you, bro. Like you answering them normal. And you answering them normal and normal and normal. And then sooner or later, the situation like dissipates now. Like the person ain't as mad no more, or the person get frustrated enough till they walk away, but they ain't trying to engage like to take this further than it need to be.
Mm-hmm.
I would sit there like, bro, you look like a punk. Like that's what I think in my mind. And like because your boy shout at you and you ain't shout, you ain't get louder. You see what I'm saying? It's my pride and it's my ego saying, right? But when I really sit down and analyze the situation, I like, bro, that's the smart, like to me, that's gangster right there, bro. Because it's like, bro, you don't dictate my emotions.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? That's number one. In this situation, this taking it a step further because the king mad at you. Excuse me, right or wrong, the king mad at you. Whether you right or wrong, you gotta understand that the king have power to punish you in ways that ain't really worth it for you. You could stand up to the king and lose your job and lose your life. And in the grand scheme of things, it ain't that big a deal. However, if you keep a calm head, a level head, it might blow over and nothing come about it. So which one worth it more to you? To say I win the argument and then you lose your life or you lose your job or you lose an arm, you know what I mean? Because it's the king. Or to say, bro, I let it dead. Like
Everything
I
cool.
stayed chill and everything was cool, you know?
Mercy.
All right?
Mercy, mercy. All right, verse 5. There is an evil I have seen under the sun, as an error proceeding from the ruler. Folly is set in great dignity, mercy. While the rich sit in a lowly place, I have seen servants on horses, while prince walk on the ground like servants. And that's the interesting point, right? Like, there is folly in great dignity. Almost saying, this is like vanity.
Yeah. That's it's almost like Solomon. This book start off by saying he nothing new under the sun, right? Every time I read that, I just be thinking about all the new things that's under the sun. Now I ain't trying to say the Bible wrong in this way, but like to me, it's like no, bro. The internet was new at some point, right? But check this out. The man say he see servants on horses while princes walking on the ground. But how many times we sit back on social media like, bro, why is everybody endorsing this foolishness? This thing that rotten your brain, bro. It's just pure stupidness, bro. And everybody behind it all, like they so entertained by it, right? But it's harmful because it's like it's like degeneracy, you know? And everybody pushing it, everybody like it, this and that, right? But then you have somebody who have something constructive, bro. And it could be entertaining too, but it's constructive. And everybody like, oh, I don't care. You hear something? You know what I mean? Like that's how I feel when I read that text right there, bro. It's so many times it's things for our own good, right? That you ain't gonna see on TV. You have to go out your way to find this thing.
Fox.
You know? But you have things that is harmful to us that's on a pedestal, and the same quality. Even Solomon is attested to this from even back then. Folly is set in great dignity, and while the rich sit in a lowly place.
Well, let's think about it, brother. It's essentially saying, bro, look, not all is fair in life.
Mm-hmm.
Not all is fair in life. Bro, there's people who going to get promoted over you who probably less qualified, and you can't explain why they get promoted or not you. You see the wicked up things that you don't that you feel that you deserve and you don't have it. And you're like, why, Lord? Why am I not me? When for Solomon saying, bro, there's folly and great dignity. Sometimes you ain't gotta take yourself as seriously. You just gotta accept life ain't as fair as it should be.
Yeah, and he say, but he called us an evilly seen under the sun. You see what I'm saying? Like there's an evil.
Is it great injustice?
As an error proceeding from the ruler. You know what I mean? Like to say, yeah, you get appointed, like people enable this foolishness to happen, And that just is what it is, bro. And I think that's so true, bro. Sometimes you can reflect on life, bro, and you could say, bro, I know these people who ain't, but they never care about their health, bro. But they used to eat all type of things, bro. All type of things that shouldn't be eaten, bro. Live long, healthy life, or live a longer, healthier life than you. But your health dissipating, or you have this complication. Like, but man, no man, I used to be eating salad, I used to be running. You see what I'm saying? Like certain things, like boy, but life you just can't gauge it, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can't predict life. Like life crazy like that.
Agreed. Verse 8, he who digs a pit will fall into it, and whoever breaks through a wall will be bitten by a serpent. He who quarries stones may be hurt by them. He who splits wood might be endangered by it if the axe is dull. And one does not sharpen the edge, then he must use more strength. But wisdom brings success.
And that's like when they say if you dig a pit, you better dig too. Like I had a manager who used to say, but if you're powerful, you gotta be merciful, right? Because when you're in this position of power, but you could stick it to everyone who you want to, you gotta understand that you might not always be powerful. And so when you over punish somebody, or you choose not to show grace when it's your time, you ain't got no grace to pull from. You ain't got no bank of grace, bank of favors you don't do for people. You see what I say? So when they say like, he who digs a pit might fall into it, I might be running around so much trying to expose Earl, and then someone expose me. I spending all my life trying to expose Earl, but nobody Earl is like this to this night, right? Next thing you know, all of my skeletons getting put on Front Street. You see what I saying? Like that's like when they say what goes around comes around type of situation. You quarry a stone, you might get hurt by it. Like the same thing you quarrying end up hurting you. And I think that's good to know. These things I learned just from just experience, bro. Like I might be like when I playing, like if I play sports, bro, I don't even trash talk in sports, bro, because most of the time I trash talk, bro, it don't work out for me, bro. I might be doing good, I start trash talking, then people just start scoring on me. You see what
You
I say?
miss
No,
an
I might
open pass,
right,
miss the
I get
open
out of
shot,
rhythm.
someone steal your ball.
Dog, bro, I don't. That's why I say, but I just can be humble, but God want me humble. You see what I'm saying? Like you get the trash talking, you do something good, then that same thing happen to you. Now you look stupid.
Oh, Fox. You ever heard a story about like there was this guy who had to cut down a tree and he had like, follow the number, like 10 hours to cut down the tree, and he spent the first 9 hours sharpening his axe, right? And then the last hour he spent cutting the tree. And this kind of reminds me of, sometimes I wonder if they steal this, got inspiration from the Bible for that story, right? Just like in verse 10, if his ox is dull and the one does not sharpen the edge, he must use more strength. And that's like, it's like a little bit of wisdom, right? Like, hey, yo, you want to make your work a little easy, sharpen your tools. But if you don't, you're going to exert more effort. As I always say, work smarter, not harder.
Yep, that's smart. Yeah, but that's just pure wisdom, bro. I mean, he could have get that from the Bible, or he could have just had wisdom to say, bro.
What make my life easier right now? Just taking this time to actually make sure my tools are equipped to handle the task.
Exactly that.
Verse 11, a serpent may bite when it is not charmed. The babbler is no different. The words of
Mercy.
a wise man's mouth are gracious, but the lips of a fool shall swallow him up. The
Mm.
words of his mouth begin with foolishness, and the end of his talk is raving madness. The fool also multiplies words solid. No man knows what is to be. Who can tell him what will be after him? The labor of fools wearies them, for they do not even know how to go to the city.
You know, you ever meet someone who just know everything, bro? You try to tell them something, and oh yeah, I know, and you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
telling them something for their own good that only you know, bro. Like you experience this and they ain't experienced it yet. You know? Yeah, I know, man. Yeah, they ain't want to hear nothing. Type situation, you know. That's what that remind me of. A fool multiplies his words. No man knows what is to be. Who can tell him what will be after him? You know what I mean? A fool multiplying his words, and no man knows what is to be. You know, but you can't tell him nothing, bro. Like who could tell him? Who could tell him anything, bro? Like what could be after him? You know, the words of his mouth began with foolishness, and the end of his talk is raving madness, right?
Like what you even talking about?
Right, but they hold on. They say a serpent may bite when it is not charmed, right? Now let's think
Mm-hmm.
about that analogy, especially in the Near East and the Middle East. A lot of serpents, a lot of serpent charmers. You know, you getting paid to show how you could train the serpent, the snake, to move in certain way. You know, like how you see it
Yep.
come out the basket,
Like
they
in
play in the
India and
fiddle,
stuff.
right? That's snake charming, right? But if you try to move without doing things in the right way, the right order, the serpent ain't like kind of like in a trance, so they ain't really obedient. They might strike. Serpent may bite when it is not charmed.
I will have a whole conversation on snake charmers, but you know what? We can save that table that for a different discussion altogether. But continue. Sorry to interrupt your point.
Yeah, but he said the serpent may bite when it's not charmed. The babbler is no different, bro. What? So it's like, bro, like to me, I take that as saying, bro, someone who just is a talker, bro. Like the implications that there's a fool too.
Mm-hmm.
They might say something stupid, bro. That's like offensive. You know, if they don't catch themselves, if they ain't really then sit themselves down and say, all right, don't say this, don't say that. You talk, you so impetuous. You say something that end up offending. You put your foot in your mouth, essentially, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I've been there, I ain't lying.
I think
I've
we
been
all
there a
have.
couple times.
We all have. Woe to you, verse 16. Woe to you, O land, when your king is a child, and your princes feast in the morning. Blessed are you, O land, when your king is the son of nobles, and your princes feast at the proper time, for strength and not for drunkenness. Because of laziness, the building decays, and through idleness of hands, the house leaks. A feast is made for laughter, and wine makes merry, but money answers everything. Do not curse the king, even in your thought. Do not curse the rich, even in your bedroom. For a bird of the air may carry your voice, and a bird in flight may tell the matter.
That one was crazy to me when I read that one. Because it's like, obviously you don't think a bird I mean, you never know. You might say something around a parrot, the parrot repeated. I don't know what type of birds they had around them, right? But it's like, bro, they say, but don't curse the king even in your thought, bro.
Mercy.
That's something, man. Do not
Mm-hmm.
curse the rich even in the
And your
confines of your
of your
bedroom,
bedroom.
bro. But you never know how that can carry, bro.
There's certain things you just don't say out loud,
Real
especially
talk.
the people the powers that be,
Real
because you
talk. But
never know who listening. You never know, especially in today's day and age. And you
oh
never,
yeah,
and,
what's
and,
today?
and, and yeah, here's the real principle and the wisdom behind it, right? You never know how much you actually could trust the people you around to not be trying to get where you is, or who hating on you to try to bring you down. You just never know.
And you never know how people will. Me and you might be fly now. I might not be one in your spot, bro. But one day, me and you might not be fly, bro. We might be enemies. You see what I'm saying?
But it
And
ain't
then I
even
say,
that. Finish your thought though.
and then I say, but hold on, King, you don't know what Earl is be saying, but you mind you tell me all this in confidence. It was cool at the time. You key, but now we ain't boys no more. And I can go to the king and tell him all that. You see what I'm saying?
And I was saying, boy, sometimes for people, life circumstances is just change.
Mm-hmm.
They might still be cool with you, but now they're like, oh no, I need this promotion.
Yeah,
I
straight up.
need this advancement. I have the second child on the way, bro. I need this right now. So I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And that's the problem.
Yeah. And then another scenario I think of is that everything might be cool. Let's say truly, let's say like me and you, we cool, we brethren, we tight. But I have a lot of respect and reverence for the current administration. Like I'm a true patriot, right?
Mm-hmm.
You say something treasonous, bro.
Mm.
And I know you ain't really got arc on it, but I can't. I won't get in trouble. But if it was thought that I was wrong on you and you was telling me this, I won't get in trouble, dog. I could see someone going to the king ahead of time saying, but I ain't gonna lie. Just out of loyalty to the king, even though this my boy. But what he was saying, he was cursing you. I just letting you know. You see what I'm saying? Type situation. But it's so many, circumstances that can motivate someone to tell on you in that way, especially when it's someone of high power. And I think that's what they illustrating by saying the king and the rich.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because the king is the highest it get. So do not curse the king, even in your thought, bro. Even in your thought, bro. It was someone in the Bahamas. There was some type of major crime that happened in America.
Mm-hmm.
Someone was on Twitter joking, saying that they was behind the crime. They was joking in the Bahamas. They was joking. They was just being stupid. Like people from America, the CIA or FBI or something, they come and pull the person out of their exam. They was in a final exam. They come, pull her parents, interrogate them, bro. Why? Because this was a serious thing that happened. You saying you was behind it? No way. We can come check. We can come check you on that. You see what I'm saying? Now I don't know what ever come out of it, but I'm pretty sure they probably at least the person who even write it online probably lost their visa or status or whatever, right? Even though they was in the Bahamas at the time,
Mm-hmm.
certain things you don't joke about, bro. You see what I'm saying? Don't curse the king. Even joking around, like he's saying, even in your thought, he's saying, bro, don't even make that a habit to start doing,
Don't
bro.
get comfortable.
Don't get comfortable doing that, bro. It should be safe in your thoughts, but guess what? It can come out your mouth soon if you keep thinking
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm. You get so used to these thoughts, you can start verbalizing them. And that's
But
when you meet ruin. Go for it.
you know them times when you talking, right? You
Mm-hmm.
talking mind someone back and you don't even realize the phone ain't hang up or your phone missing record or you know what I mean? like bro, if you adopt this situation that don't curse the king even in your thoughts and do not curse people and stuff like that, even in your bedroom, like these the birdie can't carry what you don't say, you know?
Yeah.
Straight like that. Bro,
Uh, Going back to verse 16, like that mini, I guess, paragraph before. I just like how he was like rewarding. Put it this way, what I really trying to say is like highlighting what good leaders can do for a line, and then like trying to contrast that with like showing what bad leaders can do for, in this case, a building. But sure that you have good, wise people, your land is blessed. You know what I'm saying? Like, blessed are you, O land, who kings are sons of nobles. Nobles are wise men. Well, allegedly supposed to be. We know nobility has a poor taste in a lot of people's mouth nowadays just because of the snobbiness of it. But
Mhm.
back in the day, noble people were like the wise ones in the nation. And your princes feast at the proper time for strength and not drunkenness. They ain't just partying to party's sake. They actually partying because they have a reason to be partying or reason to have a feast. But because of laziness of building decays and through idleness of hands, the house leaks. Like when you have people in charge who are doing nothing, who just sitting on their hands, not caring, things start to crack. The nation starts to suffer because of this. And then you can see this worldwide. Like when you have people who are more self-absorbed, more just flashy and just in it for the power and the money and the notoriety, the nation might not do as good. when you actually have people in there who actually want to make a difference, who actually are guided by sound counsel, who actually are making informed decisions for the betterment of the people, good things tend to happen. So it's nice that that is pointed out.
Yeah, and it just go to show how, like, bro, like just even being a homeowner, bro. Like it's like when we was in school,
Mm-hmm.
you work, and you get a long vacation. You get like the summer off, 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
You get the Christmas off. You don't really got much responsibilities, bro. That's a poor representation of the real world, bro. In the real world, bro, you don't really get long times where you just ain't doing nothing.
Hey, that does not exist anymore in life.
Because even if you do, it coming at an expense, bro. If you saying, "Boy, I just want chill," I giving my all everything to my job, and when I come home, I just want chill. Everything will fall apart in your house, bro. You can get leak, you get this and that. Boy, I walk outside one day, bro. I see a hole in my backyard, bro, and sand was there. It's almost like someone gone to the beach and pour sand in a hole, bro. It's like, wait, what's going on? I ain't been outside in like a month. I ain't been to my backyard in a month. I was like, wait, what's going on? What's
Mm-hmm.
going on in the back there, bro? Kind of
Mm-hmm.
found out a pipe that burst and it started to like, the soil,
Mm-hmm.
all that water, it started to sink. It started to sink. And then when it dry up or whatever. And I was like, bro, you can't catch a break, bro. You gotta be on top. You gotta be you gotta be on top of things, bro. You know
That's
what
the
I mean?
truth, brother.
Like it ain't nothing really good it can come from prolonged relaxation. It can come at an expense, like what we seeing on Sunday. You could choose on a Sunday to relax, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But it can come at a cost in some type of way.
Yep. Yep.
Even if it's just your laundry piling up too long.
Fox. But yeah, I mean that's Ecclesiastes 10. We almost at the end of this book. 2 more chapters to go. Pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, this book, it's starting to he getting to a point, and this is the part I like, where it's just like advice.
Mm-hmm.
Early on, it's like I saw this, I saw that, this is vanity. Now it's like, hey, this happens, and then that happens. This happens, you should do this. You know what I'm saying? As da 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 da. It's almost like Proverbs, like that type of style of writing you
Mm-hmm.
could see portrayed now. But I like these books because these are things that you could find out that is true by observation. You Somebody might not have sat you down and say, "Hey, if this, then that." But then you read these books, and he make the observation, and you're like, that is true. That is true, bro. If your boss mad at you, you can get him out of it back. If you want to win that pride battle, that's cool, but it's not gonna benefit you to do that. You see what
Nope.
I'm saying? It's not gonna benefit you. You might feel better for yourself for doing that. You know what I mean? And I ain't talking about you just letting someone be a pushover, like push you over type situation. But when people have power, it's like with the police, right? You watch the police arresting somebody. I just think it's so crazy when the police arresting somebody and that person just complaining and they trying to fight and this and that and the third. Because of the potential of how bad it could go. This is like a clear power, a clear imbalance of power. Somebody
Mm-hmm.
of a gun, you know what I mean? Like somebody is enforcing the law, right or wrong, right? Just stay calm. Like you being aggressive does not help this situation.
It ain't
You know what
helping
I
at
mean?
all. It's just intensifying the situation. And
Yeah,
when
that's
emotions are at an all-time high, logic is at an all-time low.
exactly, bro. So then when you read the Bible, and they talk about the spirit of the ruler rises against you, do not leave your post. For conciliation pacifies great offensive. Bro, we trying to pacify a situation. Like it does not benefit anybody to ignite a situation. This is just wisdom we talking about. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? You see people who, excuse me, no matter what situation they in, they acting boisterous, or they just doing something that's just not conducive of good.
Mm-hmm.
You might catch them walking the street an hour one day, and you're like, yeah, you boy making sense until you see something foolish he do. And you're like, oh, that's true. The Bible say that, even though they walk a straight path, like the folly is with them, we talk about, a snake like a snake without being charmed by bite you, bro. So is the Bible. These are evidences, is evidence of the way foolish people react, or people react when they're not wise, when they lack wisdom, you know. And we have a book that's telling us this. So now when you read, just be open-minded and say, oh wait, that's true. I've been in so much situations where I talk so much and I end up making a fool out of myself. I was trying to be cool, bro. I was trying to be cool. So I just was saying some stuff and it backfire on me, Yeah, I was being foolish in that scenario, And then you read the Bible and it show you that that's what fools do. And so now you can make a decision based on that. Oh Lord, and never tell me that putting myself in these situations was foolish. You know what I mean? But when you think about it, it was foolish because I regret doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I could have avoided this had I known better, And so when we read these books, read these chapters, we understand things like they give us theories on things that can be done better that a lot of people have failed at. Solomon ain't basing this just off of one instance. He basing this off of observation over time. I've seen this happen. This was foolish. I see somebody do a lot of good, and then you do a little bad, and it spoiled their whole reputation. In the same way, you could have a whole jar of ointment, and some flies getting it, and they spoil the whole jar. That is how people view good versus bad. It's a weighted average, and bad has a higher weight to it, But when we read these books, it's our responsibility to make sure that we learn from it and we actually apply it.
Solomon starts this chapter by illustrating how folly can outweigh honor and wisdom, and how fools will always expose their foolish ways. Next, he compares and contrasts the way wise people communicate compared to the way fools communicate. Then we learn how a lack of discipline and lazy habits can cause a house to crumble, which is why it is important to be disciplined and hardworking. And finally, he instructs us never to speak ill of a king or somebody in leadership, because words can travel unexpectedly. But we'll talk more about Ecclesiastes on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by your host, Nakhaz. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week.